Welcome to the Generational Wealth Podcast. Buy now, pay later is a trap. In today's show, I'm going to show you how this will keep you broke, why you should avoid this so that you can create generational wealth. All I need y'all to do is smash that thumbs up button, smash that like button, guys. I would totally appreciate the help. By you doing this, this helps to grow the YouTube channel. Now, I want to give a big shout out to everyone that's checked out my free webinar on the 3 keys to financial freedom. Guys, if you want to know how you can make more money without trading time for money, you need to check this out. I'm giving you the game. I'm showing you guys in this webinar how wealthy people are able to create multiple streams of income. As you already know, the average millionaire has over 7 different streams of income, and I show you how they do that in that webinar. It's all for free, so all I need y'all to do is click the link in the comments below. Now, tonight, we're going to talk about a big trap. I know y'all not going to like this one. This is a big trap, guys. A lot of people are hearing about the latest fad of buy now, pay later. And I want to tell y'all what it's all about so that you know how to create generational wealth. Now, I also want to give a big shout out to all of my sponsors. I want to give a big shout out to everybody that donates to this channel. Guys, if you've been on these podcasts before, you know I go all out on giving you nothing but high quality content. It's not about all of the bells and whistles. It's not about all the hype. When you come on this show, I'm giving you guys the facts. I'm giving y'all the gems. I'm giving you the nuggets on how to create generational wealth. As you know, I own over $1 million worth of real estate. My job is to show you guys how you can do it. As someone that's paid off over $95,000 in student loans over 10 years ago, guys, I have a lot of experience when it comes to money. And I want you to know how you can get out of debt so that way you can create generational wealth for you and your household. So if you like tonight's show and you get a lot of value from it, all I ask is that you donate. Just tap that dollar icon directly below the live chat. Whoever gives the highest donation for tonight will be the official sponsor. Make sure that y'all leave me a comment to let me know that you're here. My brother Gabar is in the building. Shout out to my brother Gabar. My brother Gabar is on the road to creating generational wealth, guys. I ain't going to count his pocket, but I'm going to let you know that my brother is on the way. Shout out to you, King. So happy to see you on. Whoever else is in the building, make sure that y'all leave me a comment. Let me know that you're here so I can shout you out and show you a lot of love. Now, let's talk about this, guys. Buy now, pay later. Have y'all used that? Don't be ashamed. Put a Y in the comments section. Why if you've used it and if you haven't. Buy now, pay later. Everybody and their mama is talking about this. You go on every website and there's a buy now, pay later option. Man, I'm going on this website and I'm looking at jewelry. Buy now, pay later. I'm going on a website. I'm looking at a shirt. Buy now, pay later. I'm going on a website and I'm looking at something that only costs $5. And they got a buy now, pay later option. They got a buy now, pay later for everything online. Buy now, pay later got so many people buying up the entire store for free, or so you think. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, y'all. What is the trap? Should you do buy now, pay later? Is there a dark side behind it? I see that Gabar says they have it for flights too. Oh, that's the reason why so many people is taking trips. I be wondering, bro, how many people is just on IG traveling, got their passport going from one country to the next. Now I know buy now, pay later got people living their best life. Shout out to Ariel. Ariel, you doing buy now, pay later? Why you got to use buy now, pay later, Ariel? You just using it to follow the crowd. Anyway, we're going to talk about this, guys. We're going to talk about buy now, pay later. I'm going to show y'all the article. I don't want to be the one to be the bearer of bad news. I don't want y'all to cuss me out. I'm going to show you guys what the risks are of getting into this hype. Understanding the risks of buy now, pay later apps. Spending money you don't have has become easier than ever before. And you know what they say? They say most people, they spend money they don't have on things they don't want so they can impress people they don't even like. And now they're doing it through buy now, pay later. Buy now, pay later services have been on the rise for years, with companies such as Klarna, Zip, and Afterpay offering zero interest payment plans for a variety of purchases from partner retailers. Everything from mattresses to electronics, sporting goods, clothing, jewelry, and more. Everything is on buy now, pay later, guys. Their apps are marketplaces full of major retail brands that beckon you with deals and offers. And the clincher, you don't have to pay for the whole purchase now. And this is how they end up finessing a lot of y'all, because if you can get what you want right now and not have to worry about the payment, why wouldn't you do it? Apple already offers zero interest payment plans on its products through Apple Card. But the company is adding a new buy now, pay later option called Apple Pay Later that will be connected to Apple Wallet. Now, with an iPhone's wireless tap, users can purchase non-Apple products spread out in 4 payments over the course of 6 weeks. Tempting, right? That's the point. A whopping 43% of Americans said they have used a BNPL service, according to an April 2022 Lending Tree poll, up from 31% in 2021. So, guys, this article came out a year ago talking about how so many people are now doing buy now, pay later. I wonder how big this has gotten in 2023. These services are also most popular among women, because you know, y'all women, y'all be spending money, emotional buyers, Gen Z, ages 18 to 25, and those making between $50,000 and $74,000 a year. It says college students and recent graduates who make up Gen Z tend to have little to no credit history and are generally less financial literate. This is how they be getting got. If mismanaged or overused, BNPL services can lead to drastic consequences on a young consumer's already delicate financial wellness. Now, I need y'all to know, they already know your finances are very delicate. They already know it's easy to get you caught up. That's why they give these things to the younger generations. That's why anytime you go to college, you'll notice they always put the kids on these credit card plans. They know you don't have any money, but you want to buy stuff. So now you're going to run up all of this debt just so you can get what you want. Buy now, pay later is the way of the future. And we're not going to go over the whole article, but I just want y'all to notice this. It says, carefully review your personal finances before signing up to ensure the BNPL loan won't saddle you with debt you can't pay back. Now, a lot of y'all don't even realize buy now, pay later is a loan. A lot of us, you'll go on a website and think, okay, it says buy now, pay later. I'm not signing up for anything extra outside of getting the product. But anytime you go through the BNPL finesse, it's a loan. Somebody is loaning you money so you can get what you want to buy. That's why they call it buy now and pay later. They're giving you the money now. That's a loan. You're paying it at a later time. That's how loans work. And guys, this is the reason why I ended up having almost $100,000 in student loans in the first place. See, when I was growing up in LA, I just wanted to get out. I wanted to get off the block. I wanted to get out of my neighborhood. So I was willing to do whatever it took to go to college. Now, when I went to college, the first thing that they make you do is sign all of these financial aid forms. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So I'm signing all of these different financial aid forms. Do you want to go to college? Yes. Do you want to live on the dorms? Yes. But little did I know I would have to pay this money back. Guys, you talk to anybody that's going to college before, and they'll let you know when you're 17 years old and you're just trying to go out of college and get out of your parents' house, you don't think that you're signing away real money. You don't think this is something that you're going to have to pay back. You're just signing on to something that's going to get you out of your mama house so that you can actually go to college. We don't see what this is going to look like when it's actually due. And so many of us get caught up in this finesse, the credit card finesse, the student loan finesse, and most importantly now, the buy now, pay later system. I need y'all to understand, these companies never come up with things that don't work for them. I need y'all to understand, they're not coming up with buy now, pay later to help you. They're coming up with buy now, pay later so you could give more money to them. That's how it works. That's why you see all these different companies like Klarna and all Affirm. The reason why they come out with all of this stuff is because they know they can make more money off of you in doing it. They know if they could get you into these programs, that means it's going to be more money for them at the end of the day. And so many of us were buying all kind of stuff online, not realizing how it adds up. I hope y'all watching. This could be the downfall for a lot of people this year. Carefully review your personal finances before signing up to ensure the BNPL loan won't saddle you a debt you can't pay back. I want y'all to leave me a comment. I want y'all to tell me a story that you've had about how you bought something off of buy now, pay later. Don't be afraid. Put yourself out there a little bit. We all family. Tell me about a time where you bought something online using buy now, pay later, and how you felt after you made the purchase. Were you happy that you did it? Were you excited? How did you feel when it was time to pay the money back? I need stories, y'all. It's going down on this show. Make sure that y'all pay attention. It's important to know your financial situation and capacity for managing multiple types of loans before you jump into these things. For those of y'all that don't realize, buy now, pay later is a loan. The first questions you need to ask yourself are, is the purchase necessary and one you won't regret? Is buy now, pay later the only way you can afford it? Are you certain that you can and will make the payments on time? Because a lot of us, we just go ahead and buy it and don't even be thinking about if we can afford to make the payments. Ooh, all you got to do is make these 10 payments of $5 a month, and then we'll just go ahead and get it, and we won't even pay attention to what we bought. We didn't forgot the bill is due. And then that's when we go into problems. Generally speaking, it's better to pay off purchases in full and not have a loan hanging over your head. It's easier, less risky, and more financially responsible. I just want y'all to know, guys, this is what the article said. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just showing y'all what the finance article says about buy now, pay later. If this is something that's for your help or if this is something that works against you. Dang. Gabar said even GoDaddy uses Klarna. Everybody and their mama use Klarna. If you want a website, there's Klarna. If you want to buy tennis shoes, there's Klarna. My brother Rick said, "What's going on? Loving this content. We're terrible spenders." Oh, you know we are. That's how they know how to get us. They know how to keep us broke and in debt through buy now, pay later. Do you think that people create generational wealth off of buy now, pay later? Y'all need to wait until I got my sound effects back going. Y'all know I'm putting more money into this podcast, y'all. All right. We're going to get this note sound effect going. We're going to get this buzzer sound effect going. For right now, I just need y'all to imagine it in your mind. Do you think that people create generational wealth off of buy now, pay later? And do you think people make money by using this system? Stop the cap. Nope. People go broke off of this. This is how we get locked into the lower class. They know you want to buy it, and that's why they make it as tempting for you as possible. This is all a part of the plan to keep us at the bottom. They put the cheese right in front of you, and you run to it like a rat, and then you wonder why you get caught up in the trap. So let's check this out, guys. I want y'all to notice this other article that talks about the trends. What are all of the trends associated with buy now, pay later? Look at what Rick said. The people, and shout out to my brother Rick. If y'all haven't went and checked my brother's platform out, make sure that y'all go to Talk That Truth Radio. Real good brother, Shalom King. Yeah, we got to link up soon, man. The brother Rick says the people that exploit us make generational wealth off of it. Man, don't even get me going. Can we talk about it? The strategy behind all of these business owners is, how do I get Black people to give me more money? I'm just keeping it a buck. Y'all know we the top spenders. You think they don't know that? How do I get Blacks and Hispanics to give me more money? Now, y'all might be saying, damn, Uzziah, why you make it about race? I was just on here watching this platform. I'm just having a good time. Why do you got to bring race into it? You know, somebody going to leave me that comment. Man, it's not even a Black thing. It's not a race thing. Everybody's getting caught up in buy now, pay later. Okay, yes, I hear what you're saying, but wait until I show you all these receipts. Wait until I show you guys the trends on who uses buy now, pay later the most. In fact, I ain't even going to show it to you just yet. I want y'all to leave me a comment. Who do you think uses buy now, pay later the most out of any group? Just go ahead. Like I said, you know I need my little sound effects. Do 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 do. Who do you think out of all people uses buy now, pay later the most to make their purchases? I'll wait. Christina says, Shalom, brother. I'm guilty of using Klarna. I'm horrible with money. Now, I just want y'all to notice the pattern. See, I thank you, Christina, for being open and honest. Don't worry, little sister. We've all been through it. Notice how the people that tell you that they're bad with money are telling you they use buy now, pay later. You all got to see the connection. Christina also says, I got my little sister here learning about how to spend money wisely. She said, Shalom, shalom to you, little sis. All right. Shout out to everybody that's on. If you haven't yet done so, please make sure that you smash that like button. I'm still waiting for you all to put yourself out there about that buy now, pay later story you got. Don't think I done forgot. You know you done been on these websites buying up the entire store off of buy now, pay later. Tell me about what you bought and tell me about how you mess yourself up financially too. So that way we can learn how to do better. Now, I'm going to show y'all the trends. What do the trend show about how this works. Buy now, pay later trends. BNPL is a payment option you may see more now than you did in the earlier 2000s. During economic times when inflation is high and interest rates rise, BNPL may be a helpful option for people making purchases. Now, I want y'all to notice the finesse. I need y'all to peep this out. They strategically planted buy now, pay later on all these sites because they knew where the market was going. They know everything is getting high as hell, but they know you still want to shop till you drop. So they said, nah, we're going to make sure we get our money. We're going to set it up to where when the economy goes up with its inflation and prices get high, we're still going to get our money on the front end because we're going to set up this tool where all of these people are going to buy now and pay later. I want y'all to notice how the game is played. See, when you come to the Generational Wealth podcast, you're going to learn the rules of the game. You're going to learn the things that the wealthy don't want you to know because they're building their wealth off of your ignorance. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you guys. Klarna, Affirm, they are not your friend. They are making billions off of keeping you broke. And they know when the market gets bad, this is how you can still finesse them. Set up buy now, pay later. A September 2022 report from the CFPB found that from 2019 to 2021, the number of BNPL loans originated in the US by the 5 lenders it surveyed grew from 16.8 million to 180 million. Guys, do you see what's happened in a few short years? From 2019 to 2021, buy now, pay later loans went all the way from 16 to 180 million loans. This means more money. Oh, not for you, because you paying more. More money for them. You made them richer. So during this time, when everybody else is going into debt, living paycheck to paycheck, guess who got rich? Klarna, Affirm, all these companies that offer buy now, pay later. This is how they finesse you. Just want y'all to notice it. This kind of financing was once popular. This kind of financing was once most popular for beauty and apparel purchases, but it has branched out into other areas like travel, pet care, groceries, and gas. Most buy now, pay later loans range from $50 to $1,000. Now, I keep saying they do this to finesse y'all, but a lot of y'all want to be finessed. A lot of y'all's like, man, if you could get me on this vacation, go ahead and finesse me. I ain't even going to worry about it right now. Just get me out of work. I will pay this later. I'm willing to pay more. This kind of financing was once most popular for beauty and apparel purchases, but it has branched out into other areas like travel, pet care, groceries, and gas. Y'all online buying bananas through buy now, pay later, y'all. What is really going on? A number of companies such as Affirm and Klarna offer buy now, pay later financing on purchases at participating retailers. A company called One, majority owned by Walmart, announced plans to offer BNPL financing in 2023. Some credit card issuers, such as Chase and American Express, have also set up similar financing arrangements. I just got a notice about that from American Express last week. trying to get me into one of their buy now, pay later systems. No, 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 no. I'm not falling for that trap. Whenever I buy something using my American Express card, guys, I pay it back the same day. I'm not going to let no kind of interest and no kind of debt rack up. I done learned my lesson. If you know me, you know my story. By the time that I graduated from college, I had over $95,000 in student loans. And I'm not even talking about the credit card debt that I ran up trying to be out here stunting. Yeah. As soon as I graduated from college, I came out and started to cut up. Oh, let me get this Bank of America credit card over here so I could buy a leather couch. Let me get this Capital One credit card over here so I could buy a big screen TV. Oh, we traveling? Let me get this other credit card over here. I didn't know what I was doing with money. And I had to learn painfully. Stop doing that. How y'all think I became so good with money? Y'all want to know the reason why I became so good with money, guys? Because when I graduated, I had to pay more money towards my student loans every month than my rent. The price of my rent, where I live every month, was lower than how much I had to pay towards Sally Mae bare minimum. And I said, oh, hell no, I'm not doing this. I got to get myself out of debt as quickly as I can. I am not going to work myself into the ground to make everybody else rich while I don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. Some of y'all are getting so duped by this BNPL finesse. You're making everybody else rich while it keeps you poor. All in the name of buying something that you won't even use next week. I need y'all to see this. It says another CFPB report from March 2023 found that users of buy now, pay later services were far more likely to have bank overdrafts. I just need y'all to peep that out. Notice the habits. Another CFB report from March 2023 found that users of buy now, pay later services were far more likely to have bank overdrafts, payday loans, pawn loans, and other high interest financial products, indicating that they are more financially vulnerable than non-users of BNPL financing. Guys, why do you think that every article describes you as vulnerable? Because these lenders are sharks for your money. They know you are such an easy target. They know all they got to do is bait you with what you want right here. Buy now, pay later. Click. And they know they're going to make billions off of you. Guys, I need y'all to understand this is how you get pimped. And I know when you go to the website, they make it so easy. All you got to do, just one click of a button. It ain't that much money, $5. But then you go to another website, another $5, then $10, then $20. And you build such a habit off of buy now, pay later, you don't even realize how deep you've gone into debt. They're telling you guys right here, the number one consumer of buy now, pay later is the same people who end up going overdraft on their bank account, mismanaged money, payday loans, where the type of interest rates that they put should be illegal. I don't know how many of y'all really know about how payday loans work. If you get a payday loan, there's some companies that could have you paying up to almost 100% in interest off of what you bought. It's meant to keep you poor. Now, guys, why am I going through all of this? The reason why I'm going through all of this is because if you want to create generational wealth, that means you have to have money to yourself. You have to know how to not let them finesse you so all of your money goes out of your pocket. There's nothing wrong with buying nice things from time to time. We all have it. But if you're going to create generational wealth, you have to understand the game. Payday loans, pawn loans, overdrafts, it's all meant for you to suffer. When you read the Bible, it says the borrower is servant to the lender. So they know if they can get you in financially, they're going to make you a slave. You're going to have to work the next 5, 10, 15 years just to pay off something that you didn't even really want. This is how the money game works. Now, I want you to notice this. It says, of those who use BNPL financing, the CFPB found that Black, Hispanic, and female consumers were more likely than average to use it. Now, see, I know y'all was saying earlier, man, Uzziah, why did you have to say Black folks do this? Black people do it, white people do it, Asian people do it. Of those who use BNPL financing, the CFPB found that Black, Hispanic, and female consumers were more likely than average to use it. So, yeah, everybody uses it, people from all backgrounds, but Black, Hispanic, and female consumers were more likely than average to use it. Y'all are the main spenders, as were consumers with household incomes between $20,000 and $50,000. Guys, y'all don't think they created it to target you? You don't think that when they came up with the buy now, pay later system, that they did not specifically gun for Black, Hispanic, and female consumers with household incomes between 20,000 and 50,000? Like, really follow me on this one. Do you think that when they set up the buy now, pay later system through Klarna and Affirm, you really think they were like, oh, you know who's going to be the number one consumer that's going to make us this money? Middle-aged white men who make $1 million a year. Those are going to be the guys. No, they know, they know that we're going to be the ones doing this. They know we're going to be the ones building up their system. Guys, why do you think banks are so big about giving out car loans, mortgages, credit cards? Because the way that these companies make money is through debt. When they keep you in debt, they know you're paying them from month to month. A lot of times, it's best if you're able to make a one-time payment towards something. It will be more expensive for you if you pay it out in installments over time. Now, am I saying that you should never pay for anything in monthly installments? No, absolutely not. In a lot of cases, you should have monthly payments for the things that you buy. But the difference is you have to be very conscious about what those things are. If you're making monthly payments on a liability, you should think twice about that. If you're making monthly payments onto something that could actually help you make more money, then yes, it makes more sense to pay for something per month in that case. So, guys, if I go to a restaurant, I'm not going to use buy now, pay later. I'm only going to buy what I can afford to pay that day. But let's say if I go to college, I might not be able to afford all of the tuition in one day. I might need to space out that payment over time. But even when I go to college, it's not so I can get a degree in underwater basket weaving. It's so that I'm able to graduate with a profitable degree that I know is going to make me a lot of money. When I graduated from college, guys, I graduated with a degree in information technology, one of the most in demand positions in the world. So I already knew when I was going to college, I'm not going to be running up all of this debt just because I'm going to go to school so that way I can get this piece of paper that will get me in this job so I can make this money and I'm going to pay it off. I set myself on a 5-year plan to pay off my student loans when I graduated from college. I did that after being homeless. So I just want y'all to understand, this is not to say that you should never make a financial decision where you can't pay something off in money installments. I'm just saying if you're going to do something with monthly installments, make sure that it's worth your while. Let me check these comments. Let me see what thoughts y'all got on the subject. Look at my brother Rick showing love, man. Check you out. Thank you, King. Shout out to my brother Rick for the $20 sponsorship. Shout out to the church at Louisville. It says, peace be with you. Please continue to help us build generational wealth with a godly foundation. Hey, I'm trying, King. I'm trying. So for those of y'all that are on, please make sure that you smash that like button. Tonight, we're talking about the dark side of buy now, pay later, how to avoid the trap. A lot of us get caught up in the trap of comfort. Look at what Christina said right here. I buy as a sense of comfort, kind of like how people eat for comfort. They know that about you. They know these buyers, they're going to buy things as a part of what comforts them. They know how to trigger your emotions. The same way that they know, hey, this is comfort food. This is going to be a comfort purchase. They got the saying, retail therapy. Have y'all ever bought something just so that way you could feel a little bit better about how you were doing for the day? Maybe you might have had a bad week. Hey, I'm going to buy this. This is going to make me feel better. This is something that I would always tell my wife. I always tell her, I tend to notice I spend the most money whenever I'm feeling the worst. If my finances are in a good place, I really don't spend that much money because I don't feel any need to look for something externally to make me feel good. I already have a sense of comfort. But if I'm finding myself going through hard times, I'm going to want to buy something to take the pain away. Now, Talk That Truth Radio says he's never heard of retail therapy before, but here's something that you probably have heard of. Alcohol to drown out the sorrows. A lot of people buy liquor for that very reason. A lot of people make purchases just as a way of medicating themselves out of their pain into comfort. Big companies know this. That's why they have buy now, pay later. They know that we are the most impulse buyers on the planet. They know that we operate off of instant gratification. Look at this. Talk That Truth Radio says, my parents was always pawning stuff and getting it out later. I'm telling you, that's the hustle. That's the reason why they already know. The same people that is going to do buy now, pay later in droves is going to be the people that overdrive on their account. Is going to be the people that end up getting payday loans. They're going to be the ones at the pawn shops. The system is designed for them. My parents was always pawning stuff and getting it out later. To this day, I refuse to pawn stuff because I saw the L's we were taking off of it. Absolutely. So y'all, don't get mad at me. I'm just showing y'all what the finesse looks like, but I need y'all to know how to manage it. So we're going to talk about the reasons why buy now, pay later is targeted to the poor, and how poor communities fall into the trap. The first way that poor communities fall into buy now, pay later is through marketing tactics. The marketing tactics of buy now, pay later is targeted to low income communities. So that way we feel like we have a seat at the table. They will you. Why do you think every time you go to one of these websites, they keep putting it out there so prominently? They want to get you to buy. They know that you don't have the money, or if you do, you'll be living paycheck to paycheck. So they put it out there so that it's more enticing. They'll say, hey, we got this interest-free period. Buy it now, pay later, no interest. Hey, as long as you get it now, you won't have to make any payments for the first 90 days. You can have your own payment plan. When they use those words, they know it's going to appeal to you that's struggling to make ends meet. They know how to market to the audience to get you to make the purchase. Another way that they know how to target this to poor communities, they know you don't have a lot of cash. Buy now, pay later is designed for people with limited cash flow. They know that if you don't have enough cash to make all of your purchases, here's an easy way where you can still get what you want. Now, guys, buy now, pay later, it covers a lot of things: household items, furniture, medical expenses, the list goes on. They're going to put this behind things that they know that you need, just so you don't feel financial pressure to afford it. Why you think the article talked about how Walmart is making a big investment in this? Think about the top communities that shop at Walmart. This is big business. It said one of the things that I also want y'all to notice, the reason why a lot of poor people are more likely to use buy now, pay later is because they have limited access to credit. Guys, if you want to know how to create generational wealth, you have to understand how to properly use credit. Buy now, pay later is going to keep a lot of people poor because it's going to ruin your credit before you start it. So most people, when they want to buy things that they can't afford, they're going to use a credit card. If you don't have a credit card, buy now, pay later is the top option. Now, you might think, well, some people get personal loans, they get credit cards, but not everybody has a good credit score. So if you've already jacked up your credit to the point where you can't even get another credit card, this is why you have buy now, pay later. Some people might not even have any credit history at all. And so they'll be enticed to do buy now, pay later because they don't have a credit card. Now, guys, if you've watched my shows, you already know I don't encourage you to do credit cards or buy now, pay later. I encourage you to pay for things in cash. The only time I recommend that you use a credit card is if you have the financial discipline to pay things off at a moment's notice. If you're out here buying stuff that you can't afford and you're putting it all on your credit card, you need to get rid of that credit card right now. I'm telling you. Credit cards are the devil for people that don't know how to use them. If you want to know how to stay in poverty, get a credit card and don't know how to use it. If you want to know how to stay in poverty, do buy now, pay later. If you cannot afford to make the payments and keep your debt free, this is going to keep you broke. And see, the reason why they get people caught up into this poverty trap is because they always lead with easy in the short term, harder in the long term. This is the opposite of creating generational wealth. How do wealthy people get wealthy? Hard work in the short term, benefits in the long term. Sacrifice now, benefit later. Hurt now, enjoy life later. Delayed gratification. How do they get our community caught up? Comfort now, pain later. This is the opposite of creating generational wealth. Guys, the whole idea behind creating generational wealth is you have something that's going to be beneficial for you at a later time. You don't have the wealth right now. You're going to build generational wealth. You're going to be able to build wealth so that way future generations of people can inherit it. But I want you to know one of the ways that a lot of people fall into this trap is because they don't have the right credit history to make purchases. So buy now, pay later will use marketing. They'll use all of these different schemes to take advantage of the fact that you don't have a lot of cash and you don't have access to credit to make it as easy as possible for you to buy. And they know they're going to get you on the back end. It's as simple as that. I don't want none of y'all going bankrupt off of a buy now, pay later purchase. That's stupid. I don't want any of y'all's credit being destroyed off of buy now, pay later. Man, it sure would be sad if you're not able to buy that home you always wanted because of bad decisions you made through buy now, pay later. Wouldn't that be a tragedy? Wouldn't it be tragic if you're not able to get another car because nobody's going to lend to you because of the decisions that you made at a retail store? Is it really worth it, guys? Is the shirt really worth it? Is the one trip really worth it? I know it feels like it's everything in the moment, but I'm telling you, you're going to wish that you didn't do that at a later time. And Brandy's already given the game. I ain't even talked about it yet. The interest rates be high as hell. Look at what Atara says. I use this when I'm in a pinch, thinking it would help so I don't use my credit cards. I thought it helped to boost my credit score. Guys, I want y'all to shout out everybody that's commenting because they're actually giving you guys the secrets on how the trap works. They know you'll be in a pinch. They know that money will be tight. That's how they know to finesse you through buy now, pay later. They know, hey, we're going to tell you this is going to help you build your credit. Why y'all think whenever kids go to college, the first thing that they see is a credit card offer? That's how they get you in the system. Now, for y'all that are getting these buy now, pay later loans, understand not all of these loans hit your credit report. So if you're actually paying on time, the credit card companies don't know about it. The only time that they will report it to the credit bureaus is if you're late. This is something that they never tell you. Guys, I'm going to share with y'all a secret that none of these content creators ever tell y'all in the world of money. It costs money for businesses to report something to credit bureaus. That means most companies are not going to report you to the bureaus unless you have really messed up their money. If you're making good decisions with money and paying on time, a lot of these companies, they're never going to report it. They're not going to spend money to do you a favor. So when you go into buy now, pay later, thinking that that's about to help you out, a lot of y'all never know that they never even report you making on-time payments or paying early because they're losing money to do that. They only report it a lot of times if you're losing the money because you're not making the payment. So it doesn't help, it only hurts. Just giving y'all the real deal. But this is the reason why you read the articles and it says it goes after blacks, Hispanics, females, those who are financially vulnerable. They know that you don't know these things about money. That's how they trick you. But since y'all are on the Generational Wealth podcast, I'm able to tell y'all how the game is played so that way y'all won't fall into the trap. If you guys are enjoying this podcast, make sure that you smash that like button for me. Again, leave me a comment. Let me know about how you made a bad decision with buy now, pay later that you regret. On this show, I'm showing you guys how this really works. I'm showing you all the dark side of this, and I'm showing you the ways that you can avoid this so that you can create generational wealth. Now, I already told you guys how they trap us into this buy now, pay later system, the scam. But I want to show you guys how buy now, pay later keeps us in the poverty cycle. The first way that buy now, pay later keeps us into a poverty cycle is through impulse buying. When you have buy now, pay later as an option, it incentivizes you to make purchases on the fly. You don't have to plan it out because, hey, buy now, pay later. So anything that you want, you could get it whenever you want it. That creates impulse buying, which means you're just slowly racking up debt over time. You don't think about it in a moment, but your debt is snowballing. If you're not actually planning out how much money you're going to spend, that means you're just out here spending recklessly, and it piles up over time. This means we have to work that much harder so that we can finally get out of debt and start at zero. I'm going to tell y'all something. When I got out of college and I was working my job in corporate America, ish got real the moment I realized I was $100,000 in the red. I was worth less financially than a newborn baby that's never worked a day in their life. I had to understand, okay, if I don't own any assets, if I don't have a business, if I don't own real estate, if I don't have a lot of investments, if the only thing that I got is a student loan, that means I'm actually in the red. What I'm trying to break down to you guys right now is something called your net worth. How much you own versus how much you owe. So if you owe more than you own, that puts you in the red. When I graduated from college, I didn't own anything, but I owed a lot. So I had to realize, wow, Uzziah, even though you're working this job and you're getting paid a decent amount of money, you owe a lot more than you own. A lot of y'all don't understand the difference between income and wealth. The money that you make doesn't go that far because a lot of the money is going out of your account in the first place. You will have people talk about, hey, man, this person's balling, they make six figures. But what does it matter if the 600 six-figure income that you make is going to all of these other companies? It's not actually going into anything that you own. So if you make $100,000 a year and you don't own any real estate, it's going to somebody else. That's not something that you can count. If you make six figures a year, but you're living paycheck to paycheck, You're not able to put $100,000 into your net worth. You're not able to put that on any document. That's just your income, but your income is here today, gone tomorrow. But you know what does stay on a document? Your debt, how much you owe. That $100,000 that I owed, oh yeah, that stayed on my records until I paid it off. So I had to realize, dang, Uzziah, here it is, you out here working from sun up to sundown, but you're actually poorer than someone who has never worked a day in their life. You're actually worth less financially than a newborn child that has never worked a day in their life. This is the trap. This is the system. This is how they get you. It's when we don't think about ownership. See, when we get into buy now, pay later, we don't own, we owe. Somebody, the person that runs buy now, pay later, they own. And we make them rich while making ourselves poor. So the first way that it keeps us in a poverty cycle is it makes us buy impulsively. And when we impulse buy, we rack up debt, and then that causes us to overspend. The next thing that I need y'all to think about, I already talked about it, debt accumulation. When you accumulate a lot of debt, it makes it that much harder for you to survive. I can remember every time I went high into debt and how I had to work like a dog just to get out. Now, I want y'all to understand there's people that are out here building generational wealth, having no debt at all, not having to work as hard as I do. You know the reason why? Because they didn't make my same mistakes. They didn't go into debt like I did, trying to further myself and get ahead. So if two people have $10, each person uses the $10 for different things, you're going to see different outcomes. If one person has $10 and they put it into their savings account, they're worth more than the person that had $10 and they spent it on Netflix. It's just as simple as that. But if you don't even have $10 and you're putting your Netflix $10 charge on a credit card, that's debt accumulation. And as your debt accumulates over time, you're going to have to work that much harder to be worth zero. Remember what I said to you guys before. When I graduated from college, I realized that there are homeless people who are worth more financially than me because I'm already $100,000 in debt. So if I'm in debt, that meant I had to own $100,000 in assets just so I could be worth zero at the end of the day. This is what they're not teaching us in our community. A lot of us, we think, oh man, as long as I got the nice watch, as long as I got the nice car, that means I'm rich. That's why they got the term hood rich, because we really don't understand how money works. When I tell you guys now that I own over $1 million worth of assets in real estate, before I ever owned $1 worth of assets in real estate, I had to get out of $100,000 in debt first. And this is the reason why we're not owners, because we don't realize how much debt we're racking up. The key to building generational wealth is to get out of debt. The only time that you can make the argument for debt working in your favor when you're trying to create generational wealth is if you're using debt to own assets. You have a mortgage because you own an investment property. Maybe you own an apartment complex. You took out a certain mortgage so that people could pay you every single month a rent check. That's not the case for most of us. Most of us are in debt buying iPhones, buying shoes, buying clothes, traveling. And this is the reason why we're not owners. If you say that you hate working at a 9 to 5 job, well, you got to own something. You have to own a business. You have to be able to own a product that you sell to other people. You have to be a producer and not a consumer. So when we talk about debt accumulation, not only think about how much money you're racking up with the debt, think about how much more expensive it gets to pay that debt off over time through all of the interest that you're racking up. Think about what I think Brandy said in the comments a little bit earlier about how the interest rate be high. Some of y'all, you might do buy now, pay later, and it might be zero interest for now. But then after that zero interest period is up, you're paying a 25% interest on everything that you owe. So it really is what it is that you owe plus 25% interest. Think about if you buy a brand new laptop. Let's say a laptop costs $1,000. You end up still owing a balance on that laptop after the zero interest period is over. You did buy now, pay later. When you do buy now, pay later, that means you're going to have to pay more than $1,000 on that laptop. You could end up spending hundreds of dollars more, if not thousands, all because of the interest that racked up. I don't think y'all hear me. Aaron, do they hear me? Shabu TV, do they hear me? How important is learning accounting, you say? This is the reason why we have to learn how money works. How do you think that you're going to get good with money if you don't understand money in the first place? Just because you make money, that doesn't mean nothing. It's not even about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. Look at how all these celebrities be going broke. They go broke because they don't know what to do with the money when they get it. And that's the reason why I'm just trying to show y'all. Rick says, I just had my college credit card drop off my report a few years ago. A lot of y'all don't see that the average credit delinquency will stay on file for 7 years. When you get a late payment on your credit score, that's going to affect you for the next 7 years of your life. So let's just put that into perspective. Christina says right now she's 22. By the time that she's 30, she wants to buy a house. The bad decisions that she makes at 22 years old can come back to haunt her by age 30. I'm not speaking that on her life. I'm telling y'all my story. When I buy real estate, that's when I have to remind myself of all the bad decisions I made 6+ years ago. And so I just want y'all to understand, y'all will talk about how you want a family. You'll talk about how you want to live in a nice community. You'll talk about how you want to get out of the hood. But are you making the right moves today so that you can win tomorrow? Are you setting yourself up and putting yourself in a position to win in the next 5 years? If you want to know how to win with credit, already imagine where you want to be 5 years from now and do the work today. Nobody that has a perfect credit score got there by doing the work right in the moment and then their credit went up. That's a myth. You look at any of these guys with high credit scores, years of work in the making, years of planning, years of knowing how to play this game. So I want y'all to understand, if you're using buy now, pay later, this can put you into a poverty trap. It can cause impulse buying. You can accumulate a lot of debt, and it comes with high interest. Guys, if you guys enjoy this channel and you're getting a lot of value from this, please donate. Okay, we already got Rick with a $20 sponsorship. Whoever gives a top donation will be the official sponsor for this podcast. And even if you're not putting up a $20 donation, put up a $5 donation, guys, if you got value from this. If you like using Cash App, $ Gen Wealth Podcast, okay? We're talking about how to avoid the trap. I'm telling you guys about the interest charges, hidden fees. One thing that's big with buy now, pay later is hidden fees. Buy now, pay later services charges hidden fees like processing fees, late payment fees, even early repayment fees. It adds up quickly. That's why y'all got to know what you're getting yourself into before you take out that loan. They're never going to tell you all the fees that goes along with it. That's why it's hidden. It's hidden fees. They do the same things with the big banks. If you bank at Bank of America, hidden fees. Wells Fargo, hidden fees. A lot of people are getting rich off of the hidden fees that they're charging you. That's why buy now, pay later targets people that overdraft on their bank account. They know you can't pay for it directly out of pocket. That's why you're going to get it off of buy now, pay later. And they know a lot of times you don't have the discipline to just not get it at all. Hey, I'm going to wait until I can afford it, man. I got my paycheck coming on the 15th. It's only in a few days from now. But nope, you want to get it right now. And that's how they know they can tax you. The next way that buy now, pay later puts us in a poverty cycle is the reduced savings. People that use buy now, pay later typically have less in savings than other people. The companies know this. So if they know that you have less in savings, that makes you vulnerable to have to rely on them. If you're always using buy now, pay later, how are you ever going to have savings for yourself? Every time you make money, you're having to pay off all of the people that you told you will pay later. At what point do you pay yourself? One of the keys to creating generational wealth is paying yourself first. But you can never do that if you have a long list of people that you owe. And guys, I've already talked about this, but I'm going to talk about it in a little bit more detail. You got to consider how buy now, pay later affects your credit. If you're poor and you cannot pay off your buy now, pay later debt, that is going to sabotage your credit. A lot of y'all don't have a lot of credit history to begin with, and it's already going to start you off in the negative. Think about what that's going to do whenever you want to qualify for more credit in the future. Let's say that you want to invest in real estate. If you want to be a real estate investor, you should have good credit. Guys, I hope that you know this. When I tell you that I own over $1 million worth of real estate, they did not give my young black behind all of this real estate by having bad credit. Just gonna let y'all know that right now. Having rental property in North Austin, having other places in suburbs in Central Texas, they don't just give that away. I had to prove that I had high credit among so many other people that was bidding on properties, guys, just to be able to get some of the investments that I have today. You have to be competitive. But if you're trying to buy a home and you're trying to invest in real estate, if you don't have your credit right, you're already at a loss. Because look at what's happening right now. The average rate on a mortgage in America right now is 7%. Do you know how many people can't afford that? There's so many people that's being priced out. Do you know who always gets the best mortgage rates? People with the best credit. You may not want a home today, but you may want one tomorrow. And it may not be a home. It could be a car, whatever. You may never think about how you want credit until the time comes where you need credit, but by then it's too late. So let me tell you guys why wealthy people avoid buy now, pay later. And then I'm going to share with you guys the tips that you need so that you could avoid the buy now, pay later trap. The first thing that I need y'all to understand, this is about wealthy people. And some of this stuff, it sounds obvious, but I'm going to walk you through this real quick. Look at this comment. Aaron says, I just got my first credit card to start building credit, but it sounds like I'm better off not having it. Is it true that credit card companies won't report the fact that you're paying it off on time, as in paying it off at the end of the month after using it for utilities, for example? Now, when you use a credit card, Aaron, that obviously is a little bit better than having a buy now, pay later loan. Depending on the type of credit card that you have, I recommend that you make purchases that are very basic, that you can easily pay off. If you got your first credit card to just start building credit, please do not load a lot of expenses on it. If I were in your shoes, I would just do something as basic as filling up my gas. You're going to do that anyway. I wouldn't spend more than $100 on any credit card purchase. Even if it's Netflix, if you have a Netflix subscription, that would be the only thing that I would use the credit card for. Guys, I'm telling you the things that I do. Right now, I have multiple credit cards at a zero balance. And the only time I would use certain credit cards is if I'm just making a Netflix payment. And you know the reason why I do that? Because one of the things that factors into your credit score is how long you've had credit. Paying it on time is one part of good credit, but also another part of it is making sure that you've had long-standing credit. When you first start off with credit, that's when your score is very low because you get dinged for not having a long track record of good credit. So when you first start out, you don't want to load it up with a lot of expenses. If you have a credit card and let's say that there's a $500 limit, don't max that credit card out. I wouldn't spend any more than $50 on a credit card if you had a $500 limit. Why? Because you never want to put more on the card than what you can afford. And the only thing that you're trying to do in this case is to keep the card active. Put one bill on there, pay it, and then be done with it. That's how I would do it. Great question. If any of you guys have questions about, paying off your credit cards, how to get out of the buy now, pay later trap, leave me a comment. That's what I'm here for, y'all. I'm here to help y'all so that way you can create this generational wealth. Now, let's talk about this. The reason why wealthy people don't do buy now, pay later are for a few reasons. One is because they have the cash. Obviously, wealthy people make a certain amount of money and they have a certain amount of money that's set aside so they can make their purchases. They're able to buy things right now, one-time payment because of cash availability. They don't need to use buy now, pay later. But another reason why wealthy people don't use buy now, pay later is because they have a better credit score. Now, see, you go into a lot of these stores, like it could be department stores, appliance stores, they all have cards. One thing that wealthy people know is that you never want to get these store cards. Like if y'all go to like an appliance store called Cons and you take out their cards, that's going to affect your credit. Here's a bit of credit game for y'all. Not all accounts are the same. If I have a credit card through American Express, that tells the credit bureaus, hey, this is somebody that has good credit. American Express would not be giving me this kind of credit card if I had bad credit. So they put my credit on a different scale than somebody that has some kind of payday loan. If you have a payday loan, that could be getting reported to the credit bureaus too. But somebody that has a payday loan and somebody that has an American Express card, they're looked at as two totally different people. It's no different than if you see somebody pull up in a Bugatti and you see somebody pull up in a Pinto. You're not going to look at those two people the same. So when you get a credit card or a loan at one of these department stores, do you know what that tells credit bureaus? It tells them you don't have good enough credit to just be able to buy things from a major card. They know that the big high credit people, the big spenders, they know that the big dogs will typically have American Express, Chase. Like there's certain companies, as soon as it hits the credit bureau, they already look highly on that. But there's also other companies, as soon as that hits their report, soon as they see that on your profile, they're like, okay, this person, they don't do good with money. Because if they knew anything about money, they would not be putting this stain on their report. But see, the way that you guys have been taught about money is all accounts are the same. That's how they get you. If y'all don't take nothing else away from this podcast, not all accounts are the same. When you do a buy now, pay later, that is the bottom of the barrel on the type of lending accounts to go on your credit report. You only want favorable things on your credit report. Let me tell you the type of things, guys, that I strategically would have on my credit report. A mortgage based upon a property that I've invested in. I'm able to show and prove that I have tenants paying for the mortgage instead of me. High-end credit accounts, American Express, Discover, zero balance, higher credit limit, but I don't need the money. See, when I set it up like that, that tells the bureaus, wait a minute, if this person has some of the top credit cards that are on the market, that meant he could qualify for it. If he has these credit cards, but he's not actually using the money, that must mean he must be doing better financially. When you take a bad account and you max it out, that tells the credit card companies, I'm desperate. So you're not even going to be able to qualify for certain cards now that you have that on your record, because if somebody sees a buy now, pay later, and they see that you were late on that, they're like, man, no, hell no, ain't no way we're going to give them this card, because look at this. They can't even keep up with that. That's why you never want to get it on your account in the first place. Guys, I'm telling you the things that other communities teach their young children when they create generational wealth for their families. There's a reason why you don't see certain communities doing this. There's a reason why. When I pulled up that article, it said buy now, pay later is used primarily amongst Blacks, Hispanics, and female, because they know that's the most vulnerable demographic when it comes to personal finance. I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but I would rather y'all hear it from me and make the adjustment than to get out here and get finessed. Shout out to my brother Aaron for the $5 super chat. Shout out to my sister Tara for the $5 super chat. Really appreciate the support, fam. All right. So for those of y'all that are on tonight, we're talking about the dark side of buy now, pay later. It seems like y'all are getting a lot of value from this. Leave me a comment, guys, and let me know about other topics y'all want me to talk about on this podcast. You know, I've been thinking a lot about how often I want to do these shows. I'm starting to think that maybe I only want to do the shows once a week, guys. So let me know. What do y'all want me to talk about? I'm here for you. Atara says, I own a home, personal credit. I want to buy another house so I can open an Airbnb. Could I use my buy credit? Oh, my business credit. You could, you want to make sure that you structure that properly. And you also want to make sure that before doing it, you've done the cost benefit analysis. I'm going to talk about that in just a second, too. You want to make sure, um, don't fall into this trap either. Don't think, Atara, just because people make money through Airbnb, that would actually be a profitable investment to make for now. A lot of people are losing money right now buying Airbnb property because the Fed is raising the interest rates, which means that a lot of people are cutting back on spending. See, these aren't things, again, that they tell you, but there's a lot of people that are losing money right now who own investment properties that are Airbnb. Because if you own like an Airbnb property, and let's say that you have a home that's in a vacation type tourist spot, if you have a destination type of location, well, you're losing money if people aren't traveling as much. Okay. So I need you guys to really pay attention to this channel because I'm going to show you guys not only the kind of assets that you want to own, but also when. You don't always want to jump into an Airbnb because it might not be the best time. You might not always want to, invest in the stock market. It may not be the best time. You want to know the right investments and when are good times to get into those markets. So I'm seeing a question about PayPal, and walk with me here, Shabu. You said, is PayPal also like a PayPal card? Again, guys, I cannot say this enough. Try to stick with the most major companies only. Okay, when I'm talking about major, I'm talking American Express. I'm talking about Discover, MasterCard. I'm talking about I'm talking about major credit cards through major companies, looking at the best ones that are on the market. A lot of times, like if you get other kinds of accounts, for example, PayPal or other things, PayPal is obviously a more reputable company. But the thing about the credit bureaus is they're weighted. What I mean when I say they're weighted, okay, you put it on a scale. There's a certain weight that the credit bureaus gives to certain companies. So you get more weight when you have major credit cards through major companies. You get lesser weight if you get credit cards that might be at a lesser company. And that's the reason why I told you guys earlier, when you go into a department store, like if you try to get if you shop at Gap, if you go to a clothing store like Gap and you get like some type of Gap credit card, you're messing yourself up because they know that you're the type of person that doesn't have a higher end card. That's why you want to avoid getting all of these different cards at these department stores, retail stores. You want to stay with the big boys only. The more that you get these other cards, because I want you to keep something else in mind. One of the things that factors into your credit score is how many accounts you have. If you have 50 different credit accounts through 50 different businesses, that's going to work against your credit score. I would much rather have 2 or 3 major credit cards only than to have 20 smaller accounts through a lot of random businesses. Okay. One of the things that factors into your credit card is the size and reputation of the company. All free game. Now, I wanted to tell you guys about why wealthy people don't do this. And then we're going to talk about these tips. And then we're going to see what y'all got from there. Wealthy people don't use buy now, pay later because they have the cash. Wealthy people don't use buy now, pay later because they have access to credit where they don't have to use Klarna. Wealthy people don't use buy now, pay later because they have the financial discipline. When they make purchases, they're going off of their budget. That way, they don't do overspending. If you are making purchases based on your budget, then that means you don't need to buy now, pay later because you have the money to buy it right now. You already got the money to pay if you budget it. Another reason why wealthy people don't use buy now, pay later: risk tolerance. Okay, wealthy people, they manage risk differently than poor people. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Remember when I said wealthy people, they might take out debt if they're buying a investment property. That's a certain kind of risk. They're never going to mess up their investment money off of a bad decision that they made with buy now, pay later money. I want you to follow me. Wealthy people know not all debt is the same. If they put themselves in a bad situation, taking out bad debt, that could actually sabotage the good debt that they could take. I don't need y'all to comment right now to let me know if y'all understand what I'm saying. If you want to invest in real estate or if you want to buy a business, wealthy people will say, hey, I might take out a business loan for this business, which I don't always recommend, but you'll have wealthy people that will do that. Maybe they'll buy an apartment complex. They'll understand they don't need to do anything else to jeopardize their credit score because they need to be positioned well enough so they can buy this apartment complex. Poor people, they'll buy now, pay later, not thinking, oh, you know what? This might end up being the reason why I can't qualify for this mortgage to buy an apartment building. The lender saw I was spending my money frivolous. I was out here buying sneakers and things that I couldn't even afford to pay. I was out here buying a watch and I couldn't keep up with it. No, they're not going to give you $500,000. You don't want to muddy the waters like that, guys. That's the reason why wealthy people don't do it. And I want you to hear what I'm saying. Wealthy people don't use buy now, pay later just because they have the money. Wealthy people don't use buy now, pay later because they understands the effects that it has on their financial track record. They don't want big corporations seeing that on their reports. That's the reason why they won't use it. Also, when it comes to cost benefit analysis, we was talking about this a little bit earlier. When wealthy people make purchases, they use what's called a cost benefit analysis. What is a cost benefit analysis? Before I buy something, is it really worth it? Do the benefits outweigh the risk? If I buy this, is it really worth it for me to buy this, or is this not worth it? That's what they think about. So when you buy now, pay later, a lot of times you're only thinking about how it's going to benefit you right now, but you don't think, man, how is this going to mess me up if I get a late payment? And the statistics show that over 40% of people that do buy now, pay later end up being late. You don't want that on your report, okay? Another thing that you want to think about, again, how much are the interest payments going to be on this? How much are the fees going to be? If I could just pay it now, I could avoid all these fees. I remember there was a time where I had to pay a large medical expense, and I paid for it out of pocket because I knew that if I left it to credit, I'm going to be spending that much more in interest. It doesn't feel good to have to spend all of that money, but it's going to be the best decision long term. So, guys, before we close this out, I'm going to give you guys the steps that you need so that way you can avoid the buy now, pay later trap. If you follow these steps, this is going to set you guys up for generational wealth. The first thing that you need to do is set up a budget. I want every last one of you planning for next month. Already think about this. How much am I going to make next month? And how much am I going to spend? So every month, before the month even begins, I'm sitting down, I'm planning out my next month budget. Income this much, my mortgage payment this much, electricity this much. You already want to have that mapped out. When you set up a budget, that stops you from overspending. When you set up a budget and you have money set aside for the things that you want, you already have the money right there. I have a play money budget. So if there's something that I want to buy, I won't need to worry about buy now, pay later because I've already set the money aside to get it. If I've went over my budget, I don't need to get it. It can wait. This is how you create generational wealth. It's going to take you having a little financial discipline in order to create generational wealth, guys. The next thing that you want to focus on is avoiding impulse buying. Like I said before, you want to plan ahead. People that build wealth are very forward thinking. So you really want to avoid making purchases on the fly that you cannot afford to pay. Before you buy anything, you want to take the time to consider whether or not this is necessary and whether or not you can afford it without going into debt. If you got to go into debt to buy most of this stuff, guys, you don't need it. If it ain't a house, if it's not an asset, if it's not something that's going to put more money into your pocket, you don't need it. Next, read the fine print. A lot of us get finessed through buy now, pay later because we don't read the fine print. Before you go through a buy now, pay later service, make sure that you read the terms and conditions so that you understand the fees, the interest rates, and the repayment schedule. I know it looks enticing because just hit one button and you're done. But then it could come with a world of headache, guys. Just be careful with that. Also, make sure that you pay on time. So, obviously, you want to make sure that if you do buy now, pay later, you stay on top of your payments. And this is the reason why, whenever I deal with any kind of credit in my personal life, I always set up auto pay. Now, I told you, whenever I buy something, I always make sure that I go on my credit card website and I make the payment the same day I bought it. So a lot of times, even when I have an auto payment schedule set up, there's nothing to pay for on auto pay because my account balance is already zero. I only do this so that way I make sure that I have a safety net. What I'm saying is, not only do you want to only buy what you can afford to pay that very day, you want to also make sure that as a safety net, you set up auto pay for any credit account where it pays off the balance in full. You should pay it off before that auto pay schedule comes. But just in case you can't or you forget, auto pay has you covered. That should make sure that you never get late. Okay. So these are just a few things that I want you guys to think about. You want to make sure that you really don't get into buy now, pay later. If you ever do it, guys, and I'm telling you not as much as you can help it, very sparingly, very, 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 very sparingly. And it shouldn't be for some random garbage. It should only be for things that you really need. Like, remember the article talked about how buy now, pay later, people could even use that to buy groceries. Okay, if your life is on the line and you're in a real desperate place like that, I understand. But if you're just out here, buying just something crazy, you don't need to do that. limit using buy now, pay later, so that way you can keep yourself secure. Okay. I want y'all to remember what I told you earlier. When I got out of college, I realized that somebody that had never worked a day in their life was $100,000 wealthier than I. That's how it'll be for you if you use a lot of these debt and loan services. There's no reason why you should work so hard just for you to be behind people that have not worked at all. If anything, just on the strength of how hard you work, you should want to celebrate yourself and take pride in actually having something to show for the fruits of your labor. That's why we talk about creating generational wealth. Also, guys, you want to think about other forms of payment: credit card, personal loan, making sure that you have things outside of buy now, pay later. Make sure that you position yourself so that way you can access those options. Now, again, right now, and let me be clear, with everything that's going on in the economy, guys, this is not the time for you to be making any kind of bad purchases. It's not the time for you to be doing no impulse buying. It's not the time for you to be acting crazy out here. Almost every show I'm giving you, I'm talking about what's happening with these banks collapsing. I'm talking about how the Federal Reserve keeps raising interest rates. I'm showing you guys how there's supposed to be over 1 million people that will be unemployed by the end of this year. And I pray that's not you. So just make sure that if you're going to buy something, you have the cash for it. And if your life is on the line and you need money from somewhere else, make sure that you've already positioned yourself to not have to rely on buy now, pay later, but maybe you do have an emergency credit card. You do have some other kind of personal loan that you could take out if necessary. So that way you don't need to fall into the BNPL trap. All right, guys. So hopefully you got a lot of gems from tonight's show. Did y'all get something good out of this, y'all? Please let me know if you did. Make sure that you leave me a comment. Yes, this is going to stop me from getting caught up with all these buy now, pay later setups. Okay. Atara says, I would like a show on how to make passive income. Sure, I would love to do another show on that. Make sure, Atara, you watch the show that I did on 10 proven ways to make passive income. I went through a lot of good content on that. I think that you'll want to check that out. 10 proven ways to earn passive income. Guys, if you got a lot of value, make sure that you donate. I want to give a quick shout out to all of the sponsors. Shout out to Atara for the $5 super chat. Shout out to Aaron for the $5 super chat. Shout out to the top sponsor for tonight's show, the church at Louisville, for the $20 sponsorship. Really appreciate it, family. Okay. Make sure that if you have not yet done so, that you like, subscribe. Please make sure that you share this show. There's a lot of us that need to see this. A lot of us are falling into the trap, y'all. Let's make better decisions. Okay. I love y'all. I'm looking forward to us creating this generational wealth together, y'all. So that way we can leave something better for our family than what we had when we got started. All right. May you have a very blessed rest of y'all's week. Lord willing, I'll catch y'all next week. Stay focused.